Hi, it's Jnwynn Scraptastic Yarns Podcast, and today is April the 30th. It's Tuesday. I still have a little bit of the plague. I do want to thank everyone who contacted me by email, text, messenger. It was nice of you to be thinking about me and to be concerned. It is basically whatever virus is going around, mostly right in here in the chest. But the thing with it is, this has really been kicking my rear end. It's to the point where I would get up in the morning. I'd be up for about 30-45 minutes, and then I'm back asleep, either sitting in this chair or I've gone back upstairs and sleeping for 2 hours, and then I get up, I'm up for 2 hours, and then I'm back asleep. I've been doing a lot of sleeping, which has helped with my fibromyalgia. Yay, me. They think that fibromyalgia is either a combination of neuro endings, being in the wrong place, and or a sleep disorder. They don't know what it is. But, the thing that they always tell you with fibromyalgia is if you're not getting enough sleep, good deep sleep, that you're going to have more problems with your fibromyalgia, which is true. I don't get into what they call a restful sleep many times. But this past week, I would say it's been a restful sleep because I'm totally out of it. There have been times in the evening my husband will be over in his chair and I'm over here and we'll be talking. And he says then the next minute I'm over here snoring. So, who knows? I want to welcome all my new subscribers. Thank you for subscribing. Generally, this is mostly about crochet, some knit, loom knitting, and some quilting. However, lately, because of the tennis elbow, that has kind of limited my ability to get things made. Some of you know that I have taken up to crocheting with my left-handed, although I'm right-handed. So, that's a little slower going. What can I say? I do have 2 finished items. One is a baby hat. And the other is block number 8 of the Unraveled Mitten. I did not enjoy this block any way, shape, or form. It is longer than it is wider. And I do have it finished, but I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to add to it on the ends, sides, and turn it into a cat mat. It won't be going in with the blanket just because it's way longer this way for me. There's no way for me to add unless I just add on each end. And it's much longer. I think this is 13. And I've been getting 12 and a half. And that is for the full 6 flower rows. So, yeah, I'm not very pleased with this one. Didn't enjoy doing it. It was a pain in the rear. I have had some folks ask me, they made a comment about Jenny's Arts and Crafts had sent me some of her scraps. And I've had a couple of comments about, oh, you're so excited to see scraps. Well, as you know, the name of this podcast is Scraptastic Yarns. And part of that is because when people are tossing out their scraps, I always look at it like there is something that can be done with those scraps. Now I'm going to give you an idea for your scraps that you can do besides a scrap blanket, for you to use at home, or to give away for charity. There are a lot of other places you can put those scraps to use, and one of those is your local animal shelter. Now, I have for many years made cat mats with dog mats that'll fit into the kennels or the cages for the animals by quilting. But I also do that with crochet, and there are quite a few patterns. This is one, just making a crochet mat with your scraps. And there is a place online. It is called snuggleproject.org, and they have lots of patterns, knit, crochet, like this. This is perfect for a frightened animal, scared kitties, and you know kitties love boxes. What's not to love about a little basket for a kitten to crawl into, cat to crawl into and curl up in? So they have a lot of these kind of projects. They have blanket patterns. They have toy patterns that you can use, and you can donate to your local animal shelters. These are items that my animal shelters, they absolutely adore getting them. So I do tend to make a lot of those with the scraps, send them off. Some of the other things, twiddle muffs, twiddle mats for patients with Alzheimer's or some kind of dementia. It gives them something to fiddle with their hands, and kind of keeps them from getting into trouble. Maybe fights with other residents in the unit. So, yeah. Or one of the other dreaded things is coupling up. Even as we age, we still are interested in sex. So, yeah, those are some things that you can make with those scraps. Toys, you know, Jnwynn stitches her folk art blanket this year, which is the calendar blanket. She's using scraps for different things to make the appliques to sew onto the blanket. And so, you know, there's tons of ways to use your scraps. We just generally just don't think about it. I use a lot of the small scraps to make small appliques to put on the baby hats that we send over to the nursery. Or just make little flowers to sew onto them, you know. Those are nice to do. And of course, you know Billy with the Crafty Floridian. She has a Mother's Day rose that she has challenged everyone to make a rose in either memory of their mother or for their mother. And I do plan on doing that. Just haven't gotten to it yet. Left-handed, a little slower. So, yeah. But then again, with the scraps, let's talk about Jada's blanket and her trees. I'm like Billy. I'm not so thrilled with that her tree pattern. But that doesn't mean that you can't go out and make your own tree pattern. My husband was laughing at me because I told him, I said, you know, maybe I'll take some of that organza upstairs and I'll just do some thread painting with it and make my own trees and then sew them on. He goes, that's cheating. He said, it's supposed to be crochet. Yeah, it is. But, you know, I don't like those trees. So I'm looking at other trees. I am looking to make maybe a fir or, you know, like a Christmas tree. And, yeah. You know, we have to do what we have to do. Okay, folks, that's it for that part. Like I said, I haven't got a whole lot that I've got finished. I'm hoping I don't get into a big coughing spell. But now we're going to go into what in tarnation. Now this one's right up my alley. You know, I love aliens and UFOs. There is an Oxford professor that has claimed aliens are already breeding with humans to create a new hybrid species that will save the planet. He thinks the new species will save Earth from annihilation from climate change. He said the hybrids may already exist, and he has identified 4 types of aliens: small, tall and bold, scaly with snake eyes, and insect-like. If you see any of these, treat them kindly. They're going to save our planet. They are highly intelligent. They come not for the sake of us, but for the sake of them. Their survival is actually our survival. And climate change is a serious subject. However, I have a husband who studies climate change. We've been through ice ages and warming periods and all kinds of things. It's Earth. It's the way it evolves. There are some patterns that happen, and he's seeing those. Now, do you like potatoes? A giant potato sculpture has been converted into Big Idaho Potato Hotel. A giant potato sculpture built to promote Idaho's spud farmers is being converted into a Big Idaho Potato Hotel, a single-room accommodation. The sculpture measures 28 feet long, 12 feet wide, and 11.5 feet tall. It was constructed by the Idaho Potato Commission to mark its 75th anniversary in 2012 and was taken on tour for 7 years to promote the crop. See, I'm seeing the commercial of the Idaho potato and the farmer and his dog trying to catch up to the potato. The steel, plaster, and concrete sculpture was retired when the commission decided to build a Big Potato 2.0. Christy Wolf, who was on the Big Idaho Potatoes tour team, offered to put her expertise as a tiny house builder to use and convert the original sculpture into a single-room hotel. It has now been outfitted with insulation, a wood floor, electricity, running water, heating, and air conditioning. The room is furnished with queen-size bed, 2 chairs, and an antler chandelier. It is listed on Airbnb for $200 a night, and reservations begin in late May. I'm sorry, sleeping in a potato would be a great thing to have on your resume, don't you think? Then we have the squirrel thief. Doorbell camera catches thieving squirrel with biscuit. A New Jersey homeowner's doorbell camera captured the moment a thieving squirrel swiped a biscuit from the front porch. The Ring camera video from May's Landing home shows a squirrel carrying a biscuit nearly half the size of its own body while climbing on the house. The squirrel jumps to a nearby rocking chair without dropping the biscuit and runs off with its pilfered snack. Have you ever wanted to go for a wine tasting with alpacas? There's a ranch in Texas, a vineyard that hosts wine with alpacas. Texas ranch said unexpectedly high demand led them to turn 1,000 people away from an unusual event, wine with alpacas. The Beech Creek Vineyard in College Station said it teamed with Bluebonnet Hills Alpaca Ranch to put on a wine with alpacas event. The demand was unexpectedly high. In 24 hours, they were sold out. They had to turn away more than 1,000 animal-loving wine enthusiasts for the event. He said the disappointed fans shouldn't give up hope. The vineyard is planning more alpaca events to help meet the demand. Alpacas are nice. It's llamas you have to worry about. They'll spit at you. Alpacas are like little kitty cats. They want to get in your face and love on you. Everything else. Now this one was a very strange story. Health officials find 2 cases of HIV related to a vampire facial at a now closed spa. The New Mexico Department of Health is urging customers of a now closed Albuquerque spa to take advantage of free HIV testing after 2 cases of the virus were found among clients who received injection-related procedures. It could affect your whole life. One simple decision changes everything, so it is scary. The 2 cases were VIP spa clients who received a vampire facial between May and September 2018. And this is bizarre. What is a vampire facial? In a vampire facial, a small amount of a client's blood is drawn and then spun to extract its plasma. That plasma is then injected into the face with a needle. The New Mexico Regulation and Licensing Department said the owner of the VIP spa did not have a licensed professional to draw blood. Only a medical professional can do that. I think it's absolutely paramount to make sure that is occurring. This is just the worst example of what can go wrong if you don't. And it almost sounds like they were reusing syringes. Big no-no. Now we have the story, and I have something to add to the story. Climate change activist glued her breasts to the street in front of London's Goldman Sachs on Fleet Street. What are the details? Climate change activists across London have been protesting going on 2 weeks, but one woman took her protest to the next level and glued her breasts to Fleet Street outside of Goldman Sachs. The woman was protesting with Extinction Rebellion, and she glued her top half to the road outside the global investment company, Goldman Sachs. Police arrived on the scene, surrounded the woman, removing her from the ground at one point. They erected screens to protect her modesty. Officers eventually led her away from the street. The Extinction Rebellion's climate change protests have resulted in nearly 1,100 arrests. The unnamed woman wasn't the only one gluing herself to curious places. Authorities escorted 7 people who glued themselves to one another and to a wall on the London Stock Exchange. Here's the extra. We have friends who told us they were driving by when they saw them protesting. And then one of them had rolled down the window and said, because they saw the woman glued to the street, had yelled at some of the men, "Why don't you be a man and glue your wankers or your balls to the wall?" And apparently they took him up on the challenge. The protesters were wearing signs that complained of climate emergency and more. One protester told the outlet that the demonstrators chose the London Stock Exchange because people inside are making millions, even billions, pounds out of trading ecological destruction. Well, not really the people inside, it's the people they represent. In a statement, Extinction Rebellion said, "We will leave the physical locations, but a space for truth-telling has been opened up in the world. We know we have disrupted your lives. We do not do this lightly. We only do it because this is an emergency." And of course, in 12 years, it will be the end of the world, according to several of our new freshman senators, congresspeople, who, quite frankly, failed at their own majors or minors. So, yeah, that is it for this. I will be back on shortly with a shout out that will come up tomorrow. But in the meantime, I will put that Snuggles Project down below, and where you can get the animal shelter kitty blanket to crochet with your scraps. And everybody, remember, choose kindness. Have a great week, and I'll see you again soon.